Hey movie fans, welcome to our new themed month for 5 good things. Last month, for October, we did horror themed movies, and now we're moving on to a different kind of horror. For November, we're going with the scariest thing known to man, Nicolas Cage movies. And we decided to go all out with this, face the toughest challenge known to man for the very first week, because we are insane. Josh, which movie did you pick for week 1?
We watched the Wicker Man remake, starring the one and only Nicolas the Cage.
This, for those of you who don't know for some reason, this is the one that sparked all the internet memes of, not the bees, they're in my eyes. The most over-the-top, overacting scene in movie history that more or less personified what most people identify as Nick Cage nowadays, of the over-the-top, spastic actor, which is... that's really not what he used to be. He's more... he just took...
And it really isn't what he is in general. Even like in movies now, like he's... I would dare to say that he is, at heart, a good actor.
I will defend Nicolas Cage as a good actor. He's just made some bad choices lately, but that's a very long video for another day. The weird thing that everyone always forgets is that the whole bee scene isn't actually in the theatrical cut. That was in a unrated extended cut that got released when it was on DVD later. So that's, of course, the version that we watched for this. And I could say with confidence that this was by far our toughest movie ever to try and find good things out of this, because... oh, Cage, why?
Almost every 10 minutes we're yelling at the screen, No! No, you can't do that! What are you doing?
We did find 5 good things about this movie. Some of them may be a bit of a stretch, and no, we're not going to be those hipsters that say the bees, because according to the standards that we ourselves set, nothing on this list can be, it's so bad it's good, which is essentially why people like this movie. At number 5, we have a character known as Sister Beach. Sister Beach, why did we pick her besides her name? It's the fact that she actually knows what these things called emotions are and has to, like, express herself. Everyone in this movie is so monotone, it makes Ben Stein look energetic by comparison. And she actually, like, knew what voice inflections were, and more or less seemed interesting. Like, everyone in this island is a little bit off, with the most off obviously being Nicolas Cage, but in the world of insanity, she seems sane by comparison, because she knows how to speak like a normal human being, even if her character is not a normal human being.
Oh yeah, and I would even dare say that, although Nicolas Cage's acting is not his best in this movie, the interactions between him and Sister Beach...
like Mark punched her in the face?
Besides that one, before that, like in the beginning when they first meet, anytime she's acting, everybody else in the scene seems to play off of that, and she really makes everybody else kind of like, hey guys, we're in a movie, we should probably be acting.
Yeah, there's always actors like that in certain movies, and she definitely was. And it was weird, Nicolas Cage in this movie, of some scenes he was a good actor, and other times he really didn't care. Like, there are some times that sassy Nicolas Cage comes out, and I don't think it was done on purpose, but I think it was, like, he was sassy out of sheer frustration with the movie being so bad, and he, like, just snapped in the moment and became sassy, and then he goes back to being monotone. And again...
he's like, oh wait, that's not my character, I've gotta go. Oh, sorry guys.
Yeah, everyone in this movie is so bad. But Sister Beach was actually kind of a bright spot, and it's weird to say, but I kind of wish her character was in it more.
I would agree.
She's not in it that much. At number 4, we have not one, but 2 cameos by well-known celebrities, actually. The first one...
was weird.
Yeah. The first one is blatantly obvious. So at the end of the movie, all things have been tied up. We're not going to spoil it for you in case you care about this movie enough to watch it on your own. But things have been tied up, and one of the women on the island goes to a local bar to find more guys to complete whatever the task was for next year. One of those men that she tries to collect for next year is none other than Harry Osborn himself, James Franco. To which we both look at each other going, is that James Franco? Yeah, it is. Why is he here? Which, it was just kind of bizarre.
It was.
Because he says like one line and then the movie just ends. So why would you go to all the effort of getting James Franco for a line of dialogue?
Wasn't this really early in his career, though?
He was still... This came out 2006.
Yeah.
Spider-Man came out in 2002.
Okay,
so he was already
yeah.
established.
Yeah.
Which is...
Okay.
I mean, this is before Spider-Man 3, so before the worst movie of his career. Actually, no. I mean, people forget that he's in this movie, so I don't count this as one of his movies.
I don't think you can even count that he's in this. Like, he's just a cameo.
It's
just like
just
in
weird.
the Guardians of the Galaxy, you can't count Nathan Fillion being in that movie.
Yep. Nathan Fillion is in Guardians of the Galaxy, if you know where to look, because he's friends with James Gunn, who directed the movie. Now, the other cameo is much, much harder to spot,
Oh my
and
goodness.
is even more just... Was that who I thought it was? Because unlike Franco, this person says nothing, wears a mustache, and could have been played by anyone, yet it's someone else who also has a superhero connection. It is none other than Harvey Dent from the Dark Knight trilogy himself, Aaron Eckhart as a truck driver at a diner. Like,
It's super weird. Because we didn't even notice until
Yeah,
we
we
were
looked
looking through
at
the
the
cast list. And
we
we're
looked at the
is that Aaron?
we
Who
looked at
is that?
Yeah, we Googled and we're like, Aaron Eckhart Wicker Man.
What?
Just picture Aaron Eckhart in a Tom Selleck mustache, and that's him. And we're just like, Aaron Eckhart, who was one of the best characters in The Dark Knight, and a great actor.
Oh, fantastic.
You're in this movie for 7 seconds. Why didn't you just get a no-name off the street? Why did you get Aaron Eckhart? It's just weird. And he was an established actor, being in movies like Thank You for Smoking before this, in 2005, which is a very good movie. Where did you go? At number 3, we have an entire scene. Yes, one whole scene out of an hour 45-minute long movie. One of those scenes was good. So Nicolas Cage is brought to the island looking for this missing daughter of his that he had with a girlfriend a long time ago.
Mhm.
And he's delivered there by this pilot of basically his own personal plane saying, don't do this, dude. There are a whole bunch of weird people in this plane. Your typical, like, guardian of a horror movie of, don't cross the threshold, you're never coming back. That guy. And so Nicolas Cage goes back to this guy to try and basically get off the island because, what do you know? The guardian was right. And the plane has been crashed and you don't see the guy. He turns around and that guy is really, really dead.
It's really weird, too, because the reason the scene is so gripping is because he like runs down on the beach and you're like, what is he looking for? And you look over and you see the plane, one of the wings of the plane sticking in. You're like, why is that in the water? And then you turn around, he turns around and you see him go, and it pans over and you see a body back there and you go, oh no, why? And
like, it was it was really unsettling and creepy. And I think it was more or less because the movie up until that point had no unsettling imagery. So all of a sudden to just have it in your face was just, it probably in retrospect isn't actually that frightening, but when you are bored out of your mind, something that shocking will jar you a little bit. And it was good imagery. And we noticed later, towards the end of the movie, like the very final scene, there is a gigantic statue of a Wicker Man, and his hands are like
they're
they're like straw,
prongs.
yeah, 3-pronged straws. And as soon as we saw that, we're like, that's what happened to the guy at the dock. Like, whoever killed him, which is it's kind of obvious who did it.
Yeah.
But they kind of took off the guy's hands in a way, in a really creepy way, that he only had like these straw hands left. And we're like, that's really weird imagery, and it kind of makes sense later. I will go on a limb and say this movie actually had some potential, but we'll get there.
And I think one of those good things leads into our number 2, which is the camera work. And I think it's weird enough that you and I kind of like catch it every now and then. We're like, hey, that was a great shot scene. Like, that scenery is pretty great.
You expect something in that shot, but nothing
happens. But it's a lot of the camera work in this film. I'm not going to say that at any moment it's not like the camera work like in The Happening, where you're like, oh man, just because of how this camera's angled, I'm feeling tension here. But there's times when you're like, this island like looks really peaceful. At the same time,
but it's something you don't trust it.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the way they show the images, the island looks and feels peaceful. But then they put the people and the acting in, and you're like, I'm unsettled in a sense because now this perfection is kind of twisted.
Yeah, the people that wrote this movie don't understand the structure and how to make an audience more or less sit on the edge of their seat. The cinematographer, on the other hand, very much understood that and how to create this unworldly tension that kind of just made you a little bit nervous, which was just an awkward juxtaposition the whole time of this is really creepy and unnerving, and then any character in the movie opens their mouths or just has dead eye and looks awkwardly at the camera, and then you're just like, okay, I'm out of it. I'm not scared. I'm bored. I want to take a nap now.
Yeah.
Like, we'd said this at least 3 times during this movie of, if this was a silent movie, this would actually be a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Had it been in a different time in a silent movie, it actually wouldn't have been too bad.
Agree.
Which leads us into our number one thing of, people give this movie a hard time, and rightly so, because this movie's awful, but at its core, the story of this movie is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And one that you actually, when you sit back and think about it, have seen done well before. If you want to see a good version of this exact same movie of a protagonist having some connection to an island that they go visit, only to have it not what it appears to be with all these twists and turns and ultimately it being their demise, go see Martin Scorsese's Shutter Island. It is literally the exact same movie, except done with better actors, better performances, better dialogue, or even just see the original version of The Wicker Man with Christopher Lee. Yes, they're different, but this movie, it had some intrigue in it. It had a decent premise and story, but when you got down to the characters talking and their interaction, none of it felt real. None of it felt organic. It felt, it just felt so hokey and awful.
Oh, it was interesting because whenever he's talking to some of the people on the island, some of the sisters, he's asking questions, and you yourself are going, yes, I want to know, tell me the answers to these questions, please, I want more of this story, and then you get nothing, you get like vague answers from them, and you're like, no, I want to know more, tell me more, and that's how you know you have a good story, because you the audience wants to know more of the story.
It was like Nicolas Cage trying to be a good cop. He's asking questions like, where's the girl? What happened here? It'd be like if I asked you, what's 7 plus 3, and you answered Z. It doesn't work. What they say in response to his questions and his reaction to that doesn't make sense. He'll ask him a question, they'll give some vague answer that makes no sense, and then he'll just drop it and move on to another question. Like, it's not suspicious at all. Like, people make fun of this movie all the time, and they absolutely deserve to. This is easily the worst Nicolas Cage. Well, up until 2014, it was the worst Nicolas Cage movie, but we'll get to that big fish at some point. Oh, but the story at its heart could have been one that was really creepy and unsettling, while having some interesting commentary. But due to the creative team and the acting team, everything in this movie, even Nicolas Cage, who's been in some awful movies, says, come out in later years saying, I hated this movie. And it's blatantly obvious that he hated this movie.
It's so funny because today I was bored at some point, and I just sat there on Wikipedia and like looking up all the stuff about this movie, and like there's an interview with him, and he's like, look, here's the thing. I was acting in this movie, and I've thought to myself, this is absurd. This doesn't make sense. And I couldn't say it then, but I can say it now. This movie's absurd.
Well, what did you guys think of Wicker Man? Have you seen it? Do you hate it? Have you not seen it? Or are you more curious to see it now? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, subscribe to the channel, or find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at 17 Movie Reviews. And check back each Saturday for a new episode of 5 Good Things, with each week being a new episode of a movie, with each month being a new theme, with obviously this one being Nicolas Cage. Or go back and watch some of our ones from last month, of our inaugural month, with horror-themed movies. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals!